Hello, this is Off Meta Garen, and today I'm bringing you something completely different than normal. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh related. We are getting into the Gundam card TCG. There's a decent amount of proxies in here because I don't own all the cards yet. I have a few cards in my wife's deck, and then I have a few cards on the way. But the main boss monster for this deck is still relatively high priced for me, considering I play other games. So we will go through what I have, and the deck today is going to be White Blocker Academy deck using the Gundam aerials as the main go-to with Mercury pilot. So I really like how Aerial looks. I've never seen the show. I just think the Gundam looks cool. So to start with, we got 4 of the Demi trainers, and then 4 of the Mobius. It's the 8-1 drop blockers for the white. For our 2-drop units, we're playing 2 of the Sky Grasper because it just returns things, and then 2 of the Zowarts because it's just more blockers. There is a good mix of Academy and Earth Alliance, but for most part, it's gonna be Academy cards. The Gundam Ferrarak, just to make things minus AP. This next card actually is just becoming probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. I don't know, there's so many commands in here, and then there's so many ways to get the command cards in the grave that it just helps. But 3/3 that becomes a 1 cost that you can then link with Mercury to get the link attack is pretty good. And then if you have multiple of those and you have 4 commands, it's just multiple bodies that you can drop of 3/3s for 1 cost. But that's heading into the 5s. Then we have the 4 of Score 6 Aerial. Just bouncing. Well, this one makes minus AP. A lot of the command cards bounce cards. But another, make your guys smaller so you guys don't die and can get over things. And then the last one is the Rebuild. Because I'm playing a decent amount of command cards that you get to bounce the command cards. And then a lot of the command cards I'm playing are also pilots in addition to command cards. So we're playing 12 pilots, but 8 of the pilots are commands. And that's just the boss monster. I mean, with Mercury becomes a 6/6 with the ability to return a command to your hand, which the commands actually come in handy. The main pilot is going to be Mercury herself, just standing up resources. She costs 1 at level 4, and then she goes with, what is that, 12 of the Gundams in the deck? Yeah, so 12 of the Gundams immediately get linked with her, and then they can just start attacking the turn they're played. So it's good ratio Gundam. Also, she's a burst, so even if she's in the shield zone, the health, she's going back to the hand. So the only time she's bad is if you actually don't draw her. We're playing 4 Overflowing Affection, and we're playing 4 a Show of Resolve. So this deck is all white, but the 4 a Show of Resolve. With the way I'm playing the commands and stuff, the fact that I can just draw 2 and essentially what's a control deck, I'm just trying to control the board and block as many attacks as possible until I can establish the big aerials and then return stuff to the hands. So 8 draw cards seems pretty good. Then we're playing the 8 command pilots. We're playing Iron Fisted Discipline. Again, we're just making something little, but in addition to, it's another pilot. And then the Hawk of Endymion. We're playing this one because it returns stuff to the hand and it's a pilot. And then the last one, which is probably the best return to the hand card. No, returning stuff to the hand doesn't really, it's not like resting it or giving it damage like some other decks do, but the fact that I can return things to get through for free damage, or return things to avoid damage and then make them waste more resources the following turn to play the same cards over and over again. But the last one is going to be the Witch and the Bride. The fact that it's a burst that gives you this effect, and then it's a main and an action, so you can choose one enemy with 5 or less HP and then return it to the hand. So some of the other cards that makes the AP less or not the AP, the HP. Like when you go with the attacks, you can make their armor lower, and then you can hit them so you don't take damage and they take damage. And then you use this to bounce the card if you need to get through with something else. It's just super good. The main reason this card's in there is because it's a 2-drop bounce. Yes, it's a level 5, but it's also a burst. So if a burst hits, you're just going to get to do it. And then just because we're playing Psychic Energies as our resources, and then just a normal EX resource and EX base because I don't have any other ones, and honestly they look fine, but I wanted to play with Psychic Energies as my resources. The deck, in theory and a little bit of testing, has done well. It kind of has a problem with the big green Wing Zero, like the boss monster that blows up the board. But once you start getting the aerials out, they're level 5s, so it's not affected as much. And you can make... The problem is you don't want to bounce those, so that's one of the biggest issues, is you don't want to return that to the hand because then they just drop it again and do damage to the board again. So that's the only thing I've seen any real issues with. But overall, the game seems pretty fun. I built this because, like I said, the Gundams look cool. Some of the stuff is just too expensive for me right now. I don't want to buy a bunch of like Wing Gundam stuff and whatnot. I have 1 and 2 Death Scythes, but honestly, the pure white seems fun. It's a lot less expensive than trying to build the green white. My wife has the Unicorn Gundam deck. We're missing a couple cards for that still, but that's okay. We'll get there. She just really likes unicorns, so the ones that are in there she's happy with. And it's just pure blue. There's no extra stuff in there. There's no overflowing affection to give a second color. It's just pure blue, rest cards, attack. So overall, this is the current Gundam experience, and hopefully you guys like the deck.